You keep your phone on silent. Not sometimes, not just at work or during dinner, all the time. You don't hear the buzz when someone texts. You don't hear the ping when an email arrives. You check when you're ready, not when your phone decides. And people ask you how you function like this. They say you must miss things, that you must be hard to reach. But the truth is, you're not avoiding people. You're avoiding the feeling that comes with the sound. That sudden jolt, that micro demand, that split second where your body tenses before you even know what the notification says. This isn't about being rude. It's about how your nervous system reads interruptions. And if you've always kept your phone silent, there's a psychological reason why sound feels less like information and more like pressure. Let me say this first. You're not broken. You're not cold or distant or disconnected. Your brain is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's protecting your attention, your energy, your sense of control. Silence isn't avoidance, it's regulation. And the fact that you need it says something important about how you process the world. For a lot of people, notifications are just notifications. A sound happens, they glance, they decide, they move on. But for you, it's different. The sound itself carries weight. It doesn't just deliver information, it delivers a demand, a question, a sudden shift in what you were doing, and your body responds before your mind even catches up. This goes back to something called nervous system sensitivity. Some people's brains are wired to process interruptions as low-level threats. Not danger exactly, but disruption, unpredictability, a break in rhythm. And when you're someone whose nervous system runs a little hotter, a little more aware, those interruptions don't just pass through you, they land. Think about it like this. You're reading, you're thinking, you're in your own mental space, and then a sound cuts through. Your body reacts, your shoulders tense, your focus scatters. You don't choose this response. It just happens because to your brain, that sound isn't neutral. It's a shift, a demand for your attention, a reminder that someone else's timeline just entered yours. So you turn the sound off, not because you don't care, but because caring doesn't require being constantly available to noise. This often starts in childhood. Maybe you grew up in a household where interruptions felt overwhelming, where the phone ringing meant stress, where someone calling always seemed to bring news that shifted the mood. Or maybe you were a kid who needed quiet to focus, and sound always felt like static, like something pulling you out of yourself. Over time, your brain learned that sound equals disruption, and disruption equals discomfort. So silence became safety. But here's the part nobody tells you. This behavior isn't just about avoiding sound. It's about protecting autonomy. When your phone is silent, you get to decide when to engage. You get to control the rhythm of your day. You're not reacting, you're choosing. And for someone whose nervous system treats notifications like tiny urgencies, that choice is everything. People who keep their phone on silent often have a deep need for internal order, not control over others, control over their own mental space. They don't want to be pulled in 10 directions. They don't want their focus fractured by sounds they didn't invite. They want to move through their day on their own terms. This shows up in other areas too. You probably hate being interrupted mid-sentence. You probably need time to transition between tasks. You probably feel most grounded when your environment is predictable, not rigid, just yours. And when something unexpected happens, when someone shows up unannounced or changes plans last minute, you feel it in your body. Not anger necessarily, just this low hum of discomfort, the sense that your rhythm just got disrupted. Notifications do the same thing. They're small, yes, but they're constant, and constant small disruptions add up. So, keeping your phone on silent isn't passive, it's active boundary setting. It's you saying, I'll respond when I'm ready, not when the sound tells me to. This is where it gets interesting, because the thing you're protecting isn't just your time, it's your emotional bandwidth. For a lot of people, each notification carries a tiny emotional question. What does this person want? Is this urgent? Do I need to respond now? Am I disappointing someone by not checking? And if you're already someone who carries a lot of emotional responsibility, who tends to feel other people's expectations deeply, those questions stack up fast. So, the sound itself becomes a trigger, not for panic, but for this quiet, familiar pressure, this feeling that something is being asked of you before you've even decided if you have the energy to give it. Silence removes that. It gives you space to check in with yourself first, to ask, do I have capacity right now? instead of reacting out of obligation. And this is deeply tied to something psychologists call internal locus of control. It's the feeling that you're steering your own life, not being steered by external forces. For people who keep their phone on silent, notifications feel external. They feel like the world deciding when you should pay attention, and that doesn't sit right. You're not antisocial. You're not disconnected. You're someone who needs to feel like their attention is theirs to give. This behavior also shifts as you age. When you're younger, keeping your phone on silent might feel like rebellion, like opting out of the constant hum of group chats and social expectations. But as you get older, it feels less like rebellion and more like clarity. You're not proving a point. You're just living in a way that feels sustainable. You start to notice that the people who matter don't mind, that real connection doesn't need an instant reply, that your relationships don't fall apart because you didn't hear a notification in real time. And you also start to notice how much lighter you feel without the sound, how much more present you are in your own life, how much easier it is to think when your phone isn't constantly pulling at your attention. The behavior doesn't disappear. It just becomes less about protecting yourself from overwhelm and more about protecting the life you've built. Here's what this really is. Keeping your phone on silent is a form of emotional regulation. It's you managing your nervous system in a world that's designed to interrupt it constantly. It's you creating a buffer between your inner world and the outer one. It's you choosing calm over reactivity. It's not avoidance, it's curation. You're not ignoring people. You're choosing when and how to let them in. Think of it like this. Your attention is a room, and every notification is someone knocking on the door. Most people leave the door open. They hear the knock, they answer, but you keep the door closed. Not locked, just closed. And you open it when you're ready. That's not cold, that's intentional. You're someone who needs quiet to stay regulated, who needs space to stay grounded, who needs control over your own rhythm to feel like yourself. And in a world that's louder and faster and more demanding every year, that's not a flaw. That's self-preservation. You're not missing out. You're protecting what matters. And the people who love you will understand that, because real connection doesn't need a sound. It just needs presence. And you can't be present if you're always reacting. So, no, you're not broken. You're not difficult. You're not hard to reach. You're just someone who knows that silence isn't empty. It's full.